You can learn to speak fluent Spanish in only 3 months. And in this video, I'll show you exactly what you need to do step by step. Millions and millions of people are trying to learn Spanish. And right now, 99% of them are failing. They're using apps like Duolingo. They've got streaks of hundreds or even thousands of days and they still are not able to have a basic conversation. They are trying to learn by watching YouTube videos, doing so-called comprehensible input. Again, thousands of hours for years and years and still not able to have a conversation. Lots of expats have been living in Spain or Latin America for years and they are still not able to have a proper conversation except basic survival sentences. Literally millions of people have taken Spanish classes in high school or college for years and they still can't have a basic conversation. All these are facts. For most people who are trying to learn Spanish, the chances of success are very low. But if instead you start doing it the right way, you can get results very, very quickly. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how. Learning Spanish is much easier than people think. It does have some challenges, but for every problem, there is a simple solution. When you are learning a language, you need to learn 3 things: vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar. And when it comes to Spanish, neither of these are too difficult. You might think they are, but I'll show you how to learn all of them relatively easily. The first thing you need to learn is vocabulary. And the good news, Spanish vocabulary is relatively similar to English. There are lots of cognates, words that are similar in Spanish and English, and the rest of the words are also relatively easy to learn, as long as you do it the right way. And then there's pronunciation. And this one can be tricky, but if you learn a couple of important things, your pronunciation will improve very quickly. The difference between una cerveza por favor and una cerveza por favor is simply learning the vowels and to roll your R's. That's it. So learning pronunciation is much less difficult than people think. And then there's grammar, which is significantly more complicated than in English, but not that hard to learn if you do it right. But all of this is the theory, the information you need to learn, the data. In practice, you just need to develop 2 skills: speaking and understanding. And the fastest way to get there is through sentences. If you learn enough sentences, you'll be able to speak the language and you'll be able to understand it. So that's what you need to do. You write down everything you want to be able to say in Spanish, in every situation, every interaction, about every conversation topic. You write it all down in English and then using a translator, you get all the sentences in Spanish. You do this every day. You write more and more sentences. Every single topic, like talking about yourself, what you did last weekend, your plans for next weekend, talking about anything. If you learn enough sentences, you learn all the grammar and all the vocabulary that you need in context, without ever having to study any grammar rules. You will also learn to speak, and relatively fast, because if you learn these sentences by listening to them, reading them aloud, drilling them over and over again, you will be able to then use them in conversation, which means you'll be able to have much longer conversations and your speaking will just skyrocket, right? It's as simple as that. Write everything you want to be able to say and learn it by drilling it. 2 main exercises that you need to do: shadowing and active recall. You've got your sentences in Spanish and then you create audio files and you listen and repeat those sentences over and over again until you can say them with confidence, fluently, and with decent pronunciation. But of course, you also have to be able to remember them when you need them. So for that, you'll need active recall, which means doing translation work. You look at these sentences in English and you try to say them in Spanish. And then you check if you said them correctly or not. And you'll make a ton of mistakes. And you try again, and you'll make much fewer mistakes because you just looked at the feedback, and you try again and again. And each time you'll do it faster and with fewer mistakes. Because in order to be fluent in a language, you have to think fast. Because in real conversation, people talk to each other. And if you can't think fast enough in the language, the conversation will just move on without you ever having the chance to say anything. But if you're able to think fast and you've got thousands of your own sentences that you practiced, that you drilled, that you can say them like that in any situation, then you'll be able to speak fluently. If you combine these 2 exercises, shadowing and active recall, you'll get fluent extremely fast. To speak a language fluently, you need to first know what you need to say, and then you have to be able to say it. So your brain needs to be trained to remember the sentences fast enough and correctly, and your mouth needs to be trained to pronounce those sentences smoothly, with the right pronunciation, and without mumbling. And for that, shadowing is the best exercise. So active recall for your brain, shadowing for your mouth. Simple. And then, of course, talk to native speakers as much as possible. And should you also do lots and lots of input? Yes, you should. The more listening you do, the better. But in the beginning, until you're able to have pretty good conversations in the language, I recommend doing the listening practice only with your own sentences, on repeat. Listening to your own 1,000 sentences 100 times each. And I mean the whole list from start to finish 100 times, not each sentence 100 times in a row. You'll improve way, way faster because you need to know those sentences by heart. Once you're able to speak, once you're able to have decent conversations, once you're able to use all your sentences in real life confidently and with decent pronunciation, then and only then you should start listening to native speaker podcasts or Netflix or YouTube videos or whatever you like to listen to. Jump straight to authentic content. Content by native speakers for native speakers. And that way you learn about the country and the culture as well. But first, listen to your language islands. A lot. You should use the 80-20 rule. The most common sentences, the most useful sentences. Learn those first with a lot of repetition. 80% or more of your time and energy should be dedicated to learning the sentences that will have the most impact in your conversations. And once you're able to have good conversations, then you move on to authentic content. And that's it. This is how you learn Spanish fast. If you apply all of this daily, in a few weeks, you'll be able to have decent conversations. It's as simple as that. Now, if you want to watch me speaking Spanish, I just started a Spanish language channel, so go check it out.